the Runners Recap with Rod Barnes. We are in episode 5, and as I was just saying, we're probably going to stop counting at some point because we're going to forget.
I think today is a good day to stop counting.
Yeah. Episode 5, we'll stop counting there.
Right,
but,
sure.
Coach, we are really close to you getting that season kicked off. So, as always, where are your emotions as we get ready to head on the road to play TCU?
All over the place. This is the toughest time for a coach. You're beginning the season, and the unknown and the uncertain things start to go through your mind. You hope you're prepared, hope your team is prepared. A lot will be is going into this TCU game, so we'll just see what happens. You know, our guys are excited about it. Coach is excited to start the season, so we're starting in a good place.
Absolutely, and we talked a little bit about this last week, TCU being a top 25 ranked team, and also coming off a year of them getting into the NCAA tournament, they're going to have a lot of momentum entering in this season. So was that a part of the reason why, too, you wanted to peg them to kind of see us? We talked about it, too, last week, a little bit of a gauge, but to get that good competition early for you guys, is that important for you?
It's important for us because you know, for the next 4 or 5 weeks, you know, we'll be focusing in on getting better. But when you play a team that's coming off, so they're really looking forward to this season. I'm sure their coaches are talking about advancing farther into the NCAA tournament. Their fans are excited from going to the NCAA tournament. Coach Dixon has done a great job since he's been there to get those guys to the NCAA tournament. So everything points, and they're on the way up, and we get a chance to go in with a team that's really looking forward to this season, excited to have some guys returning, and we get a chance to match up with them. So it's a challenge for us, but it's a good challenge.
No doubt about it, and you said it right there. It's a challenge. So expectations when you see this team, what are you kind of hoping to see? And hey, maybe knock them off, right? Get that start off with a win.
Right. Well, we always, I mean, no matter whether it's Arizona, Kentucky, or Duke, we always play to win, and that's important to us. But this time of the year, it's all about getting better. You got so many games ahead of you, but we'll go there with it, believing and expecting that we can win the game. We know we have to play well, but that's what we've been practicing for. That's what we've been working for since last April, to get to this point and be better than what we were last March. And I think our guys have worked extremely hard, and we get a chance to see where we are against a top 25 team. So, you know, who can ask for more?
Absolutely, and always a little bit of coaches talk is one game at a time, and I know that's probably where your headspace is. But when you look at a team like TCU, coming off the momentum of getting to the NCAA tournament, you guys have been there a few years ago. Does it make you a little bit hungrier to want to do that in this season, or again, are you just keeping it one game at a time, and we're not going to talk postseason until we get there?
Well, I mean, we always going to talk postseason. I'm not one to just look down the road so far, and we believe that if we take one day at a time, and then when it's tournament time, and then if we're playing well and playing our best basketball, you know, we feel like we have the talent, we have the team and the coaches, the strategy to make it back to the NCAA tournament. But, you know, we start again on Wednesday with game 1, and we're just focusing on game 1, and, you know, we'll play our best that we can in this time of the year. And once the game is over, whether we win, whether we lose, I don't think they have draws anymore. But
only in the NFL.
Well, I mean, we'll prepare and come back after the game and try to get better. It's all about getting better during this time of the year.
Absolutely. So, yeah, you guys have a tall task to get the season started. And for you, with some of the new faces, and especially some of the younger guys, in a game like this where I'm sure there's a lot of emotions, not only is it the first game of the season, that's a lot of hype comes into the game, but playing an opponent like that right off the bat, do you want to kind of lean towards those veterans and those leaders that have been in games like this before? Are you going to look to see them kind of be more of the highlight in a game like this?
Well, you look for leadership. That's the thing. I mean, we have some talented new players that I think you know, will play well, but you really look for leadership from the older guys that have been there, guys that have been in big games and been in big arenas, been the underdog, and hopefully just their composure will kind of you know, go through our team. You know, kind of have that thread of confidence, but you know, anytime you start the season, there's going to be some, people call them butterflies or a little nervousness there.
For the coaches too.
For the coaches too. And I would expect that from our players, but hopefully our older guys have talked enough, and hopefully when we get there, our approach would be, this is another game. You know, obviously we know all the stats behind their players and, you know, what they've done last year, their expectations for this year, but it's 40 minutes of basketball. So we've just got to give our best 40 minutes, and hopefully the new guys we got won't be too overly excited or nervous about playing, because I think some of them could really have a good game.
And TCU, we know they got some great guard play, so I know we've been talking a lot and spotlighting your guys' offense, what we're going to see with the tempo. But of course, when it comes to defense, one thing I haven't asked you over the course of these weeks is, what kind of defense do you want to see out there on the court? What's your focus for the defensive side of the game?
Okay, is that in this particular game?
Sure.
Or are you just
or
saying
all
in
of
general?
it?
Well,
How much time
I
do we
don't really
have?
want to say about this particular game. But I mean, we try to pressure the basketball. We think that we try to get what non-ball handlers handle the ball. We try to take it out of the guys' hands that can really handle the ball. You know, we like to press a lot. You know, we haven't extended as much just because of so many new guys. We're known across the country for our defense and how hard we play. And, you know, that's just a staple of our program, and we'll continue to do that. Obviously, you know, we'll make whatever adjustments need to be made. TCU backcourt is really good. I think the depth that they have, if Jalen Fisher is playing, they haven't decided that yet, they would probably be the best guard combination possibly in the country as far as a group. And so we've got our work cut out. But we love our guards. That's where we think our strength is right now. So we'll get a chance to match up and kind of see where we are.
And what then has stood out during practices from you and these hopefully leaders that are going to show up against TCU?
Well, I think the biggest thing to me, and I'm kind of surprised because we're such a, you know, a mindset of a staple of our program is defense. We've really shot the ball well. And guys are really shooting high percentages in practice, and I keep asking the coaches, is it they're shooting that well? Our defense is that bad? And they say, Coach, we're shooting the ball pretty well. But I think our leaders have been consistent in their work ethic and their approach. I think they've helped our younger guys with the adjustment, even when some of our new guys have struggled. Just the confidence that they're giving them and saying, hey, man, just don't worry about the next play. And I think our new guys have felt at home, felt really comfortable. And that's why I think our team may be a little bit farther along, just because of the great leadership we have and the unity and togetherness that this team shows both on and off the court.
And something interesting about this matchup is TCU was plagued a little bit by injury last year. You had some injuries. So do you feel like you're full strength to start the season? And how have you seen that from those guys coming off the injury? How have you seen them kind of, I'm sure, get excited to get back there on the court?
Well, they really surprised me, especially James Subert and Tajay Moore. Those guys have been really healthy where they haven't missed any days. And all of our players are sore, but they've been able to practice every day, and they've added what we thought they could add last year as far as athleticism and some toughness, but also some experience. So everybody will be available. Maybe Kevin McNeil, who got hurt in our charity game, he may sit out the game, but that'll be a game time decision. But we're as healthy as we've been in almost a year and a half, so we're excited about that.
Absolutely. And do we want to maybe make a tally on how many dunks we're going to see? And I know, again, we saw a lot of dunks in that scrimmage. That was really fun to watch. But I'm sure, too, that the dunk meter kind of goes down when the real games come out. But
especially with a team like TCU, because they're well coached and they get back on defense really well. And but, you know, I would expect us to have a few just because of the guys we have on our team.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of athleticism. I'll keep my eyes for the flashiness. We'll see if it comes to play in Texas.
Sure.
But,
sure.
Coach, so where are your particular emotions? You've been now with the team, and this is your 8th season.
Yeah.
So as you enter this 8th season, all that you've learned and kind of put together, where are you as you enter the season?
Well, focus really on our players at this particular point. We felt like over the last 8 years we've built a really good foundation. We feel like we've laid the infrastructure as far as just a program. For 8 years we've dealt with program, with getting out into the community, to improving our grade point average, to setting the culture that we feel like is so important to us. Now we feel like we have a team that now we can build on that. We're full of a lot of new players, as we've been talking about. We're young across the board, but we're talented. So really the commitment for me now is just stay steady. You know, it's always when you, as a coach, you can kind of have that vision and you so quickly want it to happen overnight. And you know, after few years of coaching, I know it's not going to happen overnight. So I'm really focused on the day-to-day. How good can we be today? Can we get better tomorrow? And that can happen from a team standpoint of if we can help someone individually. So development and building on our foundation is really my focus right now.
And I know that you enjoy that focus of developing young players. We got to talk about that as well. But for you, is it kind of then more fun and more of a challenge to work with younger guys in a younger team than, let's say, coaches that are settling into having a lot of veterans and relying on them on the court?
It's funner because every day you can see someone learn something, and you can see the excitement. And for a coach, that's what we do. We're teachers, you know, and to see a student athlete get better right in front of your face, or for them to figure out something and you like, and they say, hey, coach, I got it. That is really exciting. As guys grow and they get older, they're more mature, they know more about your system, you see that less. And then as a coach, you're trying to manage veteran guys instead of, it's probably less teaching as far as more of trying to coach from the standpoint of building good chemistry. So right now, we're in a teaching mode, and that's exciting. Every day someone gets better, and that's what we enjoy doing.
Yeah, and speaking of teaching, we've talked also about Brent Rapp. How has he kind of been doing that, and again, been the sounding board for players, having been just in their footsteps last year?
Well, Brent is a talented young man, and he's been kind of the coach on the floor for the last 4 years, and he's been someone that he understands our system, he understands our culture. That's part of what I was saying about laying the foundation. We've got a player that's been in our program. He's graduated. Now he's in graduate school. He understands everything about our day-to-day works. Well, we haven't had that before. And to have him to assist with our, you know, inexperienced kind of young guys, it's really been good for them, and it's good for him. I mean, he gets a chance to learn and see from the other side, you know, and he's learning quickly, and that's what we kind of expected because that's the way he was on the floor. So it's been a positive thing for both Brent and for our team.
Absolutely. And what's going to be his specific role come game day? What are you going to be using him for?
Well, he's probably going to be the coach, you know.
You're going to be sitting up in the stands just watching?
No. He played point guard, so he'll be watching and trying to figure out how he could help those our point guards out. Also, one of the big things, we have stats that we keep, like deflections, which would be important. Middle drives is something that we talk about. So some of the things that at the point guard position that may become natural, that doesn't come natural for someone else, but now that he knows, he can help those guys out. So he'll be busy. We're working him, and again, he was one of those guys with great work ethic, so he's responded well.
Absolutely. And when we look at this matchup against TCU, I'm going to bring it kind of back there.
Yeah.
Do you expect your players to be a little bit intimidated, or do you want them to be fully comfortable? As a coach, what kind of mindset do you hope that these guys bring with them on the road? Oh,
we're going to win. Yeah. And that's just the mentality of our program. Like, we jumped that hurdle a few years ago after we beat some Power 5 players. So we don't look at, we look at this being a really, really good team. You know, they're in the Big 12, and that's great, but that doesn't really matter to us. They'll be ranked top 25, and which that's great, and you know, hopefully we can knock them off. But you know, we just have taken an approach in our program because it's just been passed down. We just go to play. Right. And if they're top 10, top 25, top 200 or whatever, we're going to go in to win. So I would expect our players as a team to be confident, really going in with somewhat of a chip on their shoulder. But also, as a coach and experience, I'm sure some guys are going to be a little nervous about it, right. A little uncertain about it. And that's where our coaching staff and our upperclassmen, our veterans and leaders, that's where we got to help those guys get past those jitters and first few mistakes. And once we settle in, I think, you know, we all say basketball becomes basketball, and right. Their guys against our guys. You have to try to get those guys past all of the hoopla,
right?
You know, but we're dealing with a really good team, and we can't underestimate that. Even if we're playing at our highest level right now, it's still going to be a really tough game for us to win, but we can win it.
Confidence is key.
That's true.
If anything I've learned from you over the past few weeks, it's confidence, right?
That's true. Exactly.
Well, speaking of confidence, are you confident now to get into the breakdown with Barnes, putting you back in the hot seat?
I had a good week last week, so
I'm not asking that tough a question.
I am on a roll now.
Well, to start us off, I'm going to start with the first question. Okay. On a road trip, what is the best part for you on a road trip?
Oh, wow. The best part for me on a road trip is probably on the drive or on the flight there, because all the emotions and everything, and you're planning, and you know you've got the guys, and they're in a very good mindset. You know, when you're on the road, if you win, you got to control the excitement and enthusiasm afterwards, getting back. If you lose, it's such a downer, and it makes the trip a little miserable. So probably the beginning of the road trip is probably, I'll be excited tomorrow morning when we get ready to go, and all of our guys have that excitement for the beginning of the year.
Okay, put you really in the hot seat. Who is the best guy on the team on a road trip in terms of setting the energy high? Probably Justin Davis. He's one that last year he didn't care where we go, what time we play, who we play. He's a kind of happy-go-lucky kind of guy. Always has a lot of energy, enthusiasm, plays with a lot of confidence, and some of our players feed off of that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And if I remember correctly, Justin's the best dancer too. Is that right?
He is the best dancer.
So he's just all around dancer, energy.
He's got it all. Yeah.
Well, you'll have to film this all for us so we could see the fun on the road trip with the runners.
We may need to do that.
All right. So we obviously have passed Halloween. I asked you for your favorite candy, but on the team, who's got the biggest sweet tooth, and do you know?
Wow, I don't know. It's
they all
funny.
Eat healthy,
it's
right?
Funny. I mean, it's strange. It's funny. Most of our guys don't eat sweets like that. That is, you know, and normally you would think that they don't. I mean, it's a good thing for me, but it's also kind of surprising. You would think those guys would always picking up different things, but they don't. I mean, they're not, you know, vegetable kind of guys either, but they don't go out and, you know, have candy and sweets and things like that as much.
So no one enjoyed Halloween except for you?
Well, I mean, if you come to my office, you'll see where most of the candy is.
There we go. So I want to bring us to movies. We always kind of bring a little sports buff. Wow. I think you are. So when we're looking at sports movies, what's the all-time greatest sports movie you've ever seen? All-time
greatest sports movie. Wow, I've seen so many great sports movies. I'm probably going to say something right now, and 30 minutes later I'm going to say, I changed my life. It's probably Ali.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to see someone with just that kind of confidence and belief. You know, he said, I am the greatest before he was ever champ. You know, and that's something to see in his journey from being someone that was kind of known but unknown.
Right.
To say I'm going to be the greatest and he is the greatest.
Yes,
Yeah.
always will be. Yep,
Yeah.
huge fan too.
Yeah.
Okay, so lastly, Coach, if you were not coaching basketball, this one's going to be a thinker, what would you be doing?
Wow.
Take basketball off the table. What are you going to be doing?
Well, everyone say I would be preaching, but taking that off the table too. I would, that is tough. You know, probably the thing I've always wanted to do was drive big trucks, 18-wheelers. But now after I've seen how hard those guys work, I'm not sure I really want to do that, but it's something that I might want to try one day. But I would say, but truly, I would probably be into counseling.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can see that because you're definitely a mentor of all the men on your team, so I could see that work. But speaking of driving, I'll just say this: when I was little, I always wanted to be a bus driver or a semi-truck driver too.
Right.
We're just connected.
See, we just connected.
High five on that.
That's great.
If anyone has jobs for us, we'll take them. All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much for joining us for episode 5. And as always, Runners Recap will be on 23ABC once a week. Thanks for joining us.